All right. Hello and welcome to Four Beers In. I am Brendan.
I am Matt.
Marco.
Tammy.
All right. And welcome. Before we get to today's topic, let's paint the scene a little bit in case you're not watching video or in case this video feed gets fucked up and I can't put it on YouTube. We are at the home studio drinking a variety of different beers. My beer today, before I go to my tap of pale, we were on vacation. Tam and I were this last week, so we were up in FOCO or Fort Collins. FOCO is the locals like to call it. And we hit two different breweries. We each had a beer that we really liked from different ones.
I liked one from each.
Right. And so the first one we went to was called McKellen's. It was a Scottish-themed brewery. Apparently the brewmaster's from Scotland. And so the beer I'm starting off with is called the Volver.
The vulva?
With
And
a
that
W.
one was yummy. I like that one.
They had it in cask and in keg, and I tried it obviously in both. The recipe apparently dates all the way back to like 1885 from Edinburgh. It was a nice juicy like IPA
Juicy.
coming out of the keg, and it was a 7.7 on the ABV. Like you're gonna get a little fucked up after two of these. Mm-hmm. Drinking it out of the cask, there was a kind of a banana taste and smell to it that I get from what we brew our Hefeweizen with
Yeah.
at Frolic. So there's something there I'm trying to figure out. Either way, it's a pretty flavorful beer, and if you're in the area, I would recommend that. Matt, what are you sipping on?
I have a Denver Beer Company's Pretzel Assassin.
What?
Ooh,
Pretzel?
Assassin.
Pretzel Assassin Amber Lager.
Oh, okay. I was like, you said you don't like flavor. in
No, it
your
does
beer.
not taste
Yeah,
like
but
pretzels.
pretzel
it
doesn't
tastes.
sound like a...
Or is it salty? No,
It's,
it's
more
just
like
a straight.
I
beer
believe it's
that
a
brewed to go well with
I
pretzels.
think it's a quencher. Yeah, I think you're supposed to have the traditional bar pretzels with one
I was
of
going to
these.
say,
that.
that just sounds like a
Okay.
beer.
Yeah, it's
So
a
it's
very,
amber, so it's on the reddish side.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a
look at
beautiful.
that.
It's a beautiful amber.
If only our lighting was a little bit better on your end, but that's my fault.
Actually, that's the color I like. I think that's pretty.
Yep, it's beautiful, and you can't see through it, so it fits all my qualifications of beer.
Marco.
I have another local brew, Lone Tree Brewing Company, Peach Pale.
Lone Tree, that's out of the south.
He
Yeah.
hesitated.
It's where the rich.
Yeah,
people
there's an
live.
in
I would,
there.
I would
There's
put
an
this one middle of the road because it's another.
This is what rich people think poor people drink.
Yeah. It's another kind of compromise between the peach flavor and the IPA. I feel like citrus notes go better with IPA, which we all kind of agreed on. But the peach does give it kind of a juiciness, which I like. So it's kind of like
That's two juicy beer references.
yeah.
I'm a little uncomfortable.
So it would be like a good it would be like a good summer outdoor beer, but
As we're winding into fall, winter.
hey, and
Yeah.
enjoy it on the last 90-degree day of the year.
yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
But as a
Knock on
whole,
wood.
I'd probably put it middle of the road, like 5 or 6 out of 10.
All right.
So.
All right. Tam.
Well, I'm drinking what we brought home.
So that would be the Music City cold beer.
No. That's
Wait.
waiting for me.
Oh, that's waiting for
Right.
you.
I have a Frolic. What
Oh,
we
you have the
Right.
pail that you're sipping
Yep.
on. So what you're waiting to drink next time around.
The amuse-bouche, as it were.
the Music City Cold Brew.
So
which
that
we
was
drank.
from Black Bottle Brewing, which is, I shit you not.
That was
like-
my. It was a tie between the two, but that one was my favorite.
Which one of these do you have dibs on, Tam? Because I'm...
Well, there's 3 of the same.
It-
Oh, they're
yeah,
all the same.
they're all
Okay.
the same. We
take.
bought a 6-pack. of
Okay.
it.
But I felt
You
like
put them next to Marco and I, so you got a fighting
there's-
chance at one
you
of
each
them.
have one, and then you got to fight for the third.
Third's for you. Brendan's the
All
one
right,
who's
all right,
out.
that's
Yeah.
He's the odd man out.
That's fine. I'm all right with it.
It came out better from
Out of the tap.
the tap, but it was one of my favorites.
So it's definitely not bitter. It's
But
really
right now I'm
sweet.
drinking Frolics.
my pale ale
Your
that I
pale
brewed.
ale. Yes. I'm
Um,
not doing seltzer tonight.
So, well, we've talked about that one. So, to talk about Music City before we get into our topic of the day, that is a red/amber that is really smooth. Like it's not bitter at all, but it's got a nice little alcohol content.
Not much
I think
of
it
an
was like
aftertaste,
6.6,
which I like.
6.7, and it's the brewery is located across the street from the Fort Collins or Colorado State campus. The stadium where they play football is a block and a half away.
I know the area.
It
What is the name Music City about? Because isn't that Nashville? That makes me think of Nashville.
it did me too, and I didn't ask. And there, when we went, there
There was
was
only one guy, and he was amazing.
he was
the
literally
phone guy, the pourer,
the waiter, the
waiter,
the
and then they had two
custodian.
Was he
guys. Not to
Jamaican?
talk shit
No.
about you, but they had two guys that I think were the brewers.
It would have
Who were
been
you
like,
talking shit
But they were
about it?
talking about whatever, and like
well, it would have been like Mick and I sitting there tasting beers, and
Ah.
or Mick and the owner.
I was so impressed with this multitasker.
like, there was two guys that definitely were on the brewery side
and
of
stayed on
things.
the health side. You
They-
could tell he was masked, like
Oh, yeah.
he kept the COVID.
Yeah, there was
respect.
one true worker. Meanwhile, there was two, whether it was the brewer and the owner, or the brewer and the general manager, or two different, the two brewers or whatever. They were discussing beers, flavors, mixings, pairings.
What was coming up, what
what
they
was coming
liked.
up and
the
stuff like
only
that.
thing I give disrespect to this place is I went to the bathroom and
Oh, the Hasselhoff?
I can't help it. They had a picture of David
What is Hasselhoff
Hasselhoff,
doing in the
like
ladies' room?
literally, like.
in the women's bathroom, Hasselhoff.
And I
in his
didn't
trunks.
watch what
I
is
hear
that
the
show he
women
was
love
on?
Hasselhoff. Knight Rider.
Baywatch?
No,
Baywatch.
I did watch Knight Rider. Unfortunately,
Baywatch.
that one is because Kit stole the show. Baywatch. Like I don't need to see David Bass or whatever.
He was the-
Hasselhoff
he
in
was
his
the only guy
fucking,
with
like,
chest hair in
bathing
Baywatch.
suit. He grosses. No.
Was
no.
the bathroom clean though?
It was.
See,
I
now
respect
you're just
the
now you're just
place.
nitpicking.
I am, but I don't need
If
to see
if
him.
your
I'll
Let
issue
my
with the
exit
bathroom
out.
is that there was a Hasselhoff picture,
There's better
then
German
it was
shit.
a pretty
you don't
good
need
place
David.
in my book.
I'll pee in front of the Hoff as long as it's clean.
The Hoff.
Yes. He is the Hoff.
He is the Hoff.
I mean, and
Do German beers. Love David Hasselhoff.
see, and I was
It
just
was
going to
so
make a
funny
reference
because I'm
to
like, why do you
that,
think
too.
every woman wants
does
to
everyone
see a
say
guy
that to
without
me?
his shirt like that? Really?
He's a bear.
We just want to
Come
go
on.
have a good beer. I
Is
don't
he
need
not
to
your
see
type?
him. No,
What's wrong with him?
he's the Hoff. He's not my type.
Is it his personality or his body?
Both.
Oh my God! The only you're. Wow.
He's too clean cut for that. I mean, that was TV. I'm cable girl.
I like him a little dirty. I don't know.
When we were doing our production meeting for this podcast, it was originally going to be 4 bears in.
But only
Last
three of us.
minute change.
Only 3 of us showed up, and Tammy said, "I want all 4 or none at all."
Fuck your Goldilocks.
I got 4 holes, and I want 4 bears.
Oh,
It changed to beers after beers.
I
It
could
was
see her
4
doing the
bears.
math in her head. She's
I
like,
know,
"Which 4 holes
1,
is he talking
2,
about?"
I got 1. 3 I'm comfortable with.
4 gets a little too much. A little overwhelming.
As an ear count?
Well, we won't blow the suspense, but only one of us fits in the 4th hole.
It's the opposite of the bartender guy. He does everything.
Oh, we've come full circle.
He does the job of 4 guys.
So that means our next podcast will be done at Black Bottle Brewing. Oh, man. All right. So we threw out a little bit of love to a few local-ish breweries. But the topic for today, I don't really have a full term for this because Matt picked it.
The
It was
term is same name.
okay.
Thanks.
Same name. Well, so I was gonna kind of
The
do
title of my document,
yeah,
anyway.
namesake or something like that, or who's
No,
the,
For
namesake
me,
is
is
specifically
it
who you're
name,
named after.
maiden name?
It's
You're
whatever
married
name.
Oh, you're right.
It's whatever name. I might have the only common name in the group. So I had an
I
embarrassment
came
of
up with some
riches.
I think your name is more common than ours. Mine's
Yeah.
Very
kind
common.
of there. I don't know about Marco.
If I had to guess, I would say me, Brendan, Marco, Tammy.
You might be right, and we're gonna find
I
out
struggled,
over
but
the
I
next
got good.
45 minutes. So, Matt, let me
So-
turn it over to you.
So what brought this on is that I got an alert one day, and I've had my house for 5 years. This happened a few years ago. I still had a bunch of alerts set. Not that I alert my own name, but
But
got
also,
I got an email from Realtor.com, and I think I said Zillow last time I looked it up. It was Realtor.com that said you might be interested in this property, and it was like number whatever Matthew Bell Way, and I was like, I am interested in that property, and I looked it up. It was in Australia, in a place called Jordan Springs. which is New South Wales, which is a far, far suburb of Sydney. It's like the outskirts of Sydney, Australia. So there was a Matthew Bell Way, so I thought, who is that named after? And while I couldn't quite figure out for sure, there is a pretty well-known cricketer from Australia called Matthew Bell. And I said rugby last time, but he is a cricketer, actually. But see, he's not that old, and he's not that far gone to have a street named after him. And this is a nice street with luxury homes.
Ooh.
I recommend you check it out.
Okay.
Matthew
All right.
Bell Way in New South Wales, Jordan Springs.
I think my phone is
Very,
still in the car.
very nice neighborhood. But Matthew Bell is an Australian former professional. Well, shit. I'm sorry, I confused myself. The New Zealander is a cricketer. This guy was a rugby player.
Dude, you had a New Zealander in your history, so I've got one too. But
So yeah, but
And Brennan's all
this
excited.
Matthew Bell.
Well, hey,
I am a little bit because it's the only, like, not to jump on Matt's bit, but one of my guys, or one of my names, was a New Zealander who played soccer. Right around the time that, like, well, shortly after I would have been, if I had made it professionally, mine would have been in the early 2000s. His was 2014 to, or 13 to 14. Briefly played for the Wanderers. Maybe even, I don't know, like looking it up, I'm not sure if the guy even got a match in. Can't find a picture, can't find any stats.
Yeah, one of my Matthew Bells has on the website. He has a no face on his stats page. So I was
I
like,
hate that.
and it, well,
Although
because
ours are probably.
yeah, and because I don't know enough about rugby or cricket, I can't tell if he's good or not. But this
Probably not if he doesn't have a
Have a
photo
face?
on
He
his
doesn't want
stats page.
images.
But it might not have been a sanctioned website. It might have been a fam website. It was called like rugbylovers.com or
yeah,
something.
that's
That's,
not
you don't know.
fully legit.
But also,
Right.
if he
Yeah.
was really good, his photo would be.
I guarantee it. But also, he's not that old because he played in the 2000s and 2010s, which makes me think maybe either he's phenomenal and has a street named after him, or it's somebody else. And I couldn't figure out who that street was named after for sure. But this says Bell primarily played in the second row, but most of his appearances were started from the bench. So I'm thinking super sub. And I don't know rugby, so I don't know what second row means.
Super sub.
I don't know if he was Red Ross in it, if he was in the scrum, but that is my number one. That's what kicked off this same name fascination with me, and I'm gonna work to my most famous is gonna be my last one. So who wants to go next? Do you want to continue?
That's
Brendan?
awesome.
Sure, yeah, I can. There was a couple names that popped up, and when you type in my name, like Brendan Wyatt, you're going to get me first.
Dick.
Or at least,
I did make it to page 2 of Google. I used to be on page 6.
so, or at least based on demographic, Google is going to give me first.
You know who's right under me? A rear admiral in the Coast Guard.
Dude, that's not bad.
I am
pretty
on top
cool.
of a rear admiral.
It's
That
better than
sounds really
Pinterest.
bad.
I've
Go back to
hit
the
some
Four Bears
Pinterest shit.
right?
So I will. Coast Guard's way better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, not to dry you up over
My
there,
family's
but
a Navy family, so they would disagree. with
Not to dry me up.
I
not to
was-
dry you up,
I
but he
was
seems like he's a
post-Navy,
human
yeah.
resources rear admiral.
Oh.
He's in
Oh.
he's in DC and he's firmly on terra firma and he does personnel shit. But yeah, he's not like your badass rear admiral
Right,
commanding
right.
a ship from the aft
From the
side.
rear.
I assume
The rear.
I assume that's what a rear admiral does.
of teaching people how to do their lives from the rear.
I think if
Anyway.
I were about to retire from the military and I was given the rank of rear admiral, I would just have to pursue the next rank, whatever's not rear admiral.
Because you don't want to be in the rear.
Because well, because of the
It
old
depends.
the old
You
Simpsons
can't
joke.
say that.
The old Simpsons joke. If I turn my back, I leave myself open to the dreaded rear admiral. that was a Millhouse line on the bus. Yes, a fraught place.
Your Simpsons, like, memory is just baffling.
Let's just say the Simpsons is to me what Jesus Christ is to a lot of other people.
That's hilarious.
It's your
I can
church.
believe that.
It's basically my It's
Alright,
basically it's given me more than Christianity ever did.
Which is
ever
funny
will.
because we've been limited. Sorry, I'm probably more 4 beers in right now.
That's your
probably
sixth,
more
though,
5
by
or
my
6.
count.
Yay!
But
Just picking up
I'm
the slack
finding
from
more
Marco.
like if you don't have basic or a lot of cable channels, I'm watching more of The Simpsons, which is bringing me back to those like, oh yeah, The Simpsons. You forget about it because you get into like the Family Guy and Bob's Burgers or
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
the
I
new
like-
cartoons are. And you forget about those.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to completely derail ourselves in talking cartoons, but
The Simpsons will probably be another pick of mine in the future.
But they still continue on the today topics. Like I think people forget they're still current.
yeah.
Yes.
But
he
that's
is.
almost like a different show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still
I'm with a lot
funny.
of Simpsons fans and feel like there's like 3 different eras of Simpsons.
Oh, there is.
And
There
it's
is.
like
and
a
part of it
different-
is just because of what we as a country have gone through over the last, I mean, what, fucking 3 decades.
3 decades.
I mean, it makes sense. But to bring it back around, I think when I was Googling my name back in the day, not so much lately, because I think part of it has become just, as weirdly talking about the TV shows, just decades change things. So when I would Google my name when I was in Florida almost 10 years ago.
Florida man.
Or more than 10 years ago.
What's the craziest thing you ever got arrested for?
Being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
There you go.
That's what
Classic
they all
Florida
say.
line. Classic.
The strip club got raided.
That's what they all
For
say.
underage, for drugs, be more specific.
Drugs, prostitution, and fucking
Gambling. This prostitution,
Gambling.
does it happen in other cities, like Mile High cities?
Oh, it happens
particularly-
everywhere, but they were trying to really come after him. And we were on Seminole land, so all of that was kind of okay.
Were you? Oh, you weren't Native, but it wasn't the police of the Native American.
No, it wasn't. It was Orlando PD.
Okay, because I lived in San Diego for a long time, and there's a lot of reservations around, and there's a lot of casinos in the reservations, and the number one rule is, oh, you don't want to go to jail on a casino, on a reservation. I mean, because those police, they don't fuck around, and they got a grudge.
Well, typically,
I just
in
remember
certain-
sitting on the curb just watching everybody drive by looking at us with our hands cuffed. And it's like, yeah, this strip club just got raided, and everybody driving by knows it's a strip club. And
That's
here we
different
all
from
are, you know.
reservations.
It was pretty, yeah. But anywho,
because you have to be
I keep
Native
on
American to
sidelining,
even work.
sidetracking.
no,
at
that's
certain
okay. It happens.
casinos back where I grew up.
Back
Reex.
then, when you Googled Brendan Wyatt, you didn't get me. You got a Canadian dancer, ballet guy,
That's awesome.
choreographer.
He had to specify ballet
He likes
after
to be
telling
on
the
his
strip
tippy
club
toes.
story.
Right. Well,
He was a dancer, but not one of those dancers.
Prancer.
not one of those dancers. It was a ballet dancer who apparently
Prancer.
he I don't know if he there was some Broadway ties to it. I didn't really
Does
follow
Canada have a
it.
Broadway?
Well, no, they don't.
Toronto might. It's a big
I
city.
was maybe.
But I didn't continue to, like, I'd seen pictures and I'm like, yeah, I'm not this fucking guy. Maybe if I worked really hard, I might have been. But it wasn't me. So I didn't really spend a whole lot of time Googling much more of his accolades. It was the...
Did you look for him now? Is he dead? What is
No,
it like?
he's settled down a little bit. He hasn't
Ballet is
done...
hard on the body.
Yeah,
you know?
he hasn't done
Yeah.
anything in the last 4 years.
He's retired. Good for him.
I mean,
Most of us won't ever get to.
which is kind of like, as far as like current things going on with my similar name or same name, I'm the only one who's doing anything current, unless you go to some young kids, and out of Texas there's a kid that's a running back named Brendan Wyatt. He comes out of the class of 2023. So if you're a big huge throw ball hand egg fan out of the state of Texas, there might be some running back with the same name as me coming up in the next couple years that may end up in the draft.
So
But
your future Wyatt.
yeah, I'm a future Wyatt. But as far as the old Wyatts go, like I mentioned briefly in the opening, there's a New Zealander who played football, soccer, probably about the same amount of level that I did. The only difference is New Zealand, it's a lot easier probably to make a professional team
There's more sheep than people.
than it is to be able to
There's
make
a
a
liquor
professional
store in
team here.
Longmont named Wyatt.
There is
You
a
play
liquor
on the
store.
over 40s. He played on the under sheep.
Hey, scratch that. I'm still on the under 30 team, man.
No, you're not.
Over 30. Over 30, not under over 40.
I'm like, what did I marry?
I
I
just-
shouldn't say that.
I'm
I
almost
married
4
a
beers in.
20-year-old.
Right?
This is what you get, folks.
You're
You
as
tuned
old,
in.
You're
You
as old as the
downloaded this.
man you feel.
You're still listening to this. We're still
That's
drinking.
how you know
Yes.
Brendan is more competitive than I am, because I'm happy to play with the over 40s.
Are you for real?
Thank
Are you
you.
playing over 40s?
Oh, when in pickup, there's a lot of over 40 and over 50 guys, and
but those guys
I
are
feel
really
good
good.
about
They
myself
want you
because I
young
can
guys.
still play
Like, please
soccer.
play with us.
Oh, okay. I see how it is. No, our league is. Man, we.
I'm
still
one of
try
the
to
fast
take it
guys
as-
still with the over 40s. Like, thanks, guys.
I get you. Oh man. I just spit off like 3 different Brendan Wyatts. but-
Yeah, with the most common name, I have quite a few. So if we don't want me to do an entire chunk of this
It's just
show,
gonna
maybe
be
I
the
should
Matt,
pepper them in.
the Matt
the
show.
Matt Bell
Maybe we
show.
should do like me, you, me, Tam, me, Marco, me, Brendan.
Right. So throwing it back to you then.
Okay. Because I have the most common name in the group, there was a New Zealander. He is a New Zealander. He's younger than I. Matthew David Bell, which I once got a collection call for a Matthew D. Bell, and I said, yeah, I'm Matthew D. Bell. Matthew David Bell? I'm like, no, thank you, I'm not Matthew David Bell. Was not my collection. But he's a former New Zealand international cricketer. He plays domestic cricket for Wellington. Had been playing first-class cricket since '94, and he is the assistant coach of the White Ferns.
Wellington Phoenix?
Wellington, New Zealand, I believe.
Does Phoenix
So-
have a
Oh.
cricket team
Well,
too?
I don't
There's
know.
a YouTube video, Time to Talk to Assistant Physio Brendan Wyatt on Mental Health, and it's Wellington Phoenix FC.
Nice.
Huh?
So they're
Uh-huh.
both in the same city. Somewhere there's another Matthew Bell and Brendan Wyatt that are friends, probably.
That would be so fucking cool.
They're drinking
This is
right
making
now.
me want to be like a sports agent during like the 1990s when the internet wasn't like as accessible.
right.
You could just like Nigerian email
Prince that
scam
shit.
people. Be like, oh, Brendan Wyatt, he has all this professional experience. Just send out his resume to random like European soccer clubs.
For some reason, I just thought of if you can draw this turtle, you can be a professional artist, too.
just pull a gashi.
Oh.
Just send your
You can come
just
to
send
art
your
school.
yeah, just send your drawing with $500 to PO Box, Peoria, Colorado, because that's where they all were.
All right, I'm listening. I'm going to refill my beer real quick.
Now this doesn't say I don't know anything about cricket, but apparently Matthew Bell is a top order batsman. He made his debut for Northern Districts in '94, marked by his dismissal. Hit wicket. Hit wicket is a grounds for dismissal. I don't know what serious offense a hit wicket is, but it is your dismissal. It took him until his 3rd season to make his maiden first-class 100, and in '98 was called up to the Test squad to face India. That's where he went into international. But stomach cramps marred his entry to the international arena. Also, lay off the stouts. That's something this
Stomach
Matthew Bell
cramps.
learned. This Matthew Bell
But also
learned that
those
you age
games
out
are
of
so
stouts.
long. How could you not
Oh,
get stomach
days.
cramps?
They're like 5 days long. They're not even hours.
Oh, really?
Cricket takes days.
I don't
Yes.
know much about cricket.
I know nothing
Well,
about
they play for
cricket.
like 10 hours or more, and then they like, okay, we're going to continue the game tomorrow after your
Yeah.
stomach cramps go away.
Wow.
So he was retained for New Zealand's tour of England the following season, although he made a watchful 83 at Old Trafford, a place we all know and love. He struggled to make an impact on the series. His maiden 100, though, against Pakistan in 2001 was instrumental in helping New Zealand in the 3rd test and draw the series 1-1. So it seems like he was mediocre on a less than mediocre team, so he shines. And that is all I'm going to say about New Zealand cricketer Matthew Bell. Tammy,
Oh, geez.
you've only got 2.
Well,
Right?
I actually had more than I thought. I have my typical Pinterest, whatever.
What is your actual
really.
name? Maybe we should tell
Well,
people.
If you go by my real name, it's Tamitha Prey.
See, she can't even say it.
I can't even say it.
after
I
5
told you I'm more than 4 beers in. All right, I started early. I'm on vacation, motherfuckers. But if you go by or Tammy Wyatt,
You
which
almost said like our last name wrong.
whatever.
Why?
Wyatt.
What? But
Wheat.
I always felt like a country singer with Tammy Wyatt, because like Tammy Wynette. So I always
yeah.
felt like kind of like I should have a guitar in hand.
Judgment
But
says I'm going to allow Tammy Wynette.
there
as
is
an
a Tammy
entry.
Wyatt, actress, but I can't
yeah?
find her picture, which is so frustrating. So apparently, there's an actress out there,
She was in two things.
Tammy Wyatt. She was in $1.
Dollar Bill or $1.
Dollar.
Yeah, $1. It's on CBS Access.
It's an
or
episode. I only made it one
Amazon Prime.
episode, and I can't sign.
The
I
first
can't.
episode, which we haven't watched.
And
yet.
Manhunt.
she
She was
made
in
a
a movie
pilot.
called Manhunt, but I can't find her picture. So it's bizarre. And then she was in.
How
the
old
one,
is she? Do you know roughly? Is she just starting out? She may
No,
crack in.
she's in her 30s.
Oh,
Are we
poor
mad
Tammy.
that
Yeah,
our
poor Tammy
doppelgangers
didn't
aren't
make
more
it.
famous,
Yes.
or are we not mad because we can
She
impersonate
has-
them
But the thing
at
is,
random
if you're
events?
trying to
I
make
think
it,
she
why wouldn't you
sounds
put
there's
your
a little
profile
anger
out
in there.
there?
I will
you
now
can find
introduce
more shit on me and
Matt
my
as
family.
famous cricketer Matthew Bell.
I know nothing
And
about my
I
history.
will now
Thank you
introduce
very
$1
much.
you as
and
famous
Manhunt.
actress.
Is my so $1. I was in one episode. It's a series in
She's taking credit
2018.
already, stealing identity.
So I must
Right.
die.
There's
I
a
must
picture
die
on the
in it
IMDb.
because
It's her.
Maybe she appeared as a dead hooker.
she
Corpse.
actually. I'm Bailey in it. Her name is Bailey.
Yeah.
I could be a hooker. I hope that would be awesome. I hope.
You need
Only
to
in
use
these
this to
pretenses.
get
Like,
more
please
acting
give me a
jobs.
napkin to wipe my face off. And then Manhunt in 2017, I can't find anything on that. She's in that movie, so I don't know who she is in that. But I can't find a picture of her, and I've tried so hard. I'm like, what does she look like? But for someone that's trying to be an actress, she's not putting herself out there too much.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Only,
You can use that resume, go to some events.
am I just an extra? But she's
Ju-
Bailey. She's Bailey.
Just upload your photo to the IMDb page. Like, this is me.
And then tell your boss that
Get
if you don't get a
get-
raise, you're going back to Hollywood to
Get
try your
some,
luck.
get some free hors d'oeuvres. Get some free drinks.
Tell them the
worth
Gish
it.
agency has called you up and
hell?
you're thinking of getting back
So I'm
into
an
the game.
actress that's very unknown and doesn't want to be. I'm very secretive.
You're a reclusive actress.
I'm a reclusive. I don't want you to know who I am, but
Which is
I'm in
funny
it.
because you're a
I'm
recluse
in
in
it.
real life too.
I'm like the Jurassic Park girl that gets eaten real quick out of the crowd, probably.
take
But that's Bailey.
I'd love to get eaten by a dinosaur in a movie. That would be fun as hell. I'd put my picture.
You see those
though.
legs kicking? That's
Yeah.
me.
I would put my actual screenshot as my IMDb.
No.
right? The one where you're getting eaten.
That's
I-
me.
I've never checked, but I might be on IMDb. I did crew on a movie once. I was the second assistant camera on a movie called 5 Stages of Beer. You notice a theme in my life. There's a very good theme of alcoholism in my life. Speaking of Tammy Wynette, though, I have a
Why not? I always feel like when I married Brendan, because my maiden name is Tammy Prey, or Tamitha Prey is my given name. But when I was Wyatt, I always thought, why not? I'm like, I'm Tammy
Yeah.
Wynette. I feel like I should have a guitar.
But speaking of Tammy Wynette, there is a folk musician in a band called Matt Bell and the Next of Kin. Featuring a
That's
white.
Nice
awesome.
segue, man.
This band features a white guy with dreadlocks.
What? An Adam Duritz?
He's not Matt Bell though,
Oh,
but Matt Bell is the front man. Based in North Texas, Matthew Bell and the Next of Kin is quite simply a
That
family
is
affair born out of
hilarious.
marital good fortune and bound by a
family
drive
affair in Texas do not sound good.
for the creative and the authentic. We are brothers,
That's
sons,
just a hoot.
fathers, husbands, and outside of our Creator.
And
so
we're all
they're a,
related.
they're a Christian folk band.
Oh.
Oh,
Family
not only
affair
the
is a wedding.
See, that reminds me
Not
of
only the
Boston Legal.
reason-
That's just a hoot. Just a hoot.
not all our families are not only the reason why we do what we do, they're the reason why we've been able to achieve any success at all. At heart, we're storytellers, and whether the story belongs to us or our fellow man, we strive to offer justice to both the triumph and tribulation of human experience. I checked out a few of their songs. They're not great.
They're not listening to
They're
us
not going to be
either.
our theme song anytime soon.
Oh,
But they are composed of Matthew Bell, Darren Deniston, Jared Schmidt, Ben Dauberstein, guessing he's the dreadlock guy, and Cameron Crowley. Folk
No.
soul with tight harmonies and emotional musicianship, and as entertaining as it is intriguing.
Well, nice way to put like some proper advertising onto your site there, but in good words. But if you didn't send me a vote of confidence there,
Yeah.
listening to their
They are on
songs.
Spotify. If you click any of their links
So are
there,
we, by the way.
yeah, they join us on Spotify and their website because as having the most common name, I can guarantee that anything involving Matthew Bell is taken.com. They are mbnok.com.
There you go. Matthew Bell is.
And they'll link you to their music if you're so inclined to Christian folk.
The last Christian band I listened to was Jar of Flies, or was it?
Oh, no. That's
perfect-
It was
Jar of
uh,
Flies is
the
Alice in Chains.
album. It
Yeah,
was,
Perfect Circle is.
Oh, Perfect
well,
Circle. That's
They're kind of more anti-Christian.
but there was a jar of something.
yeah.
Jar of Clay.
Thank you. It might have been.
That's Creed's album title, I believe.
Well, isn't he somewhat?
Well, he is.
No, Human Clay.
Wasn't Creed like quasi
wants to
Christian
Well, he
rock?
is because
But
his
he's-
Creed
dad
was
his-
Christian. Went
His
pop.
dad was a pastor in Orlando,
But he's
which was
creepy.
funny because he and his wife would show up at the strip club.
But weren't they one of those that were like trying to pretend not to be because
Well, of course,
Well-
because
they wanted more mainstream fans?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
They hit it big on the pop scene.
I won't fuck you,
And they
but I'll
don't
put a
wanna-
$5 bill on your
Because
G-string.
No,
because
well, see, the thing
Evanescence
was
had
is
that
Scott
problem
Stapp
too.
would
Or I'll pay
drink,
you to do it.
But he would buy drinks for everyone
Then
in the
why
bar.
is that a bad rep? Because you made it sound
No,
like
I'm
he
not
was-
saying he was a bad guy.
Because they're
He and
trying
the
to
wife
balance out getting like more mainstream fans and like Christian rock fans
They're
and
selling
like
out their faith.
those
yo.
two different fan bases. Yeah, like
Yeah. It's like.
go against each other.
Well, I think Gloria Stefan started off Christian rock and then she
And you
hit it
want to
with
be
pop.
more mainstream, quote
Did
unquote.
she really?
It might have
to-
She
been-
might have, or
It
maybe
might not have been
later. She
her,
had
it
that
might have
car
been-
accident and weird shit happened.
Might have been.
I forgot all about that.
Her car accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good to be alive.
Anyway.
I like her.
How about Marco, man? We haven't heard from you.
There's a Florida
your-
man with
Where's
my
your
name.
Oh,
Florida.
no,
Yeah.
that's not a good start.
So there's
Well,
not
North
a
Texas,
lot
Florida. I don't
of
know.
Marco Cummings out there.
Depends on what part of Florida.
And also, like Brendan, I've spent a lot of time like working on my boosting my Google rank.
Your SEO.
So now, pretty much, if you search Marco Cummings, you're gonna find me,
Nobody's going to search Marco Cummings.
Cummings.
except me because I'm a
Well, they
narcissist.
are after they listen to this podcast.
Depends on who this Florida man is.
Right?
But forever, this guy, I had to push him down the Google ranks. I was like, this guy has such a rap. Marco Cummings in Broward County, Florida.
Broward County.
Yeah.
Famous county.
Yes.
That's where everybody
That's
gets
Miami.
arrested.
Like, it's not Miami-Dade, it's Broward.
He's been arrested for counterfeiting. He's been arrested for robbery without a gun. So
What, a
They
knife?
specify without a gun.
it just says robbery, no gun. That's what the police report says.
I'll bet he was, robbing somebody who had a gun, and they were able to pin him down.
And he got
until-
stuck there.
It says
put him down till the police arrive.
custody medium, so he's not a low-level criminal, according to this police
I'm
report.
going to grab a drink anyway.
5'11", 205, so we're about the same build. He's
Uh-oh.
born in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this guy. But his last arrest was 2009, so it's been a while. So maybe he's cleaning up his act. Good job, Marco.
or he died.
Oh, yeah. Which good for him for not screwing up my Google rankings anymore.
Now you don't have to fight him as much.
Way to be a bro there.
Hey, Marco Cummings of Florida man, if you can get arrested for something a little more intriguing, that'll really help your search engine optimization.
Yeah. He's probably going to show up to certain sports teams' events impersonating me.
Yeah. Turns out he's a soccer
Dude,
genius.
the effort that would take.
I mean, for certain events where you get free food and booze, I said it's worth it.
Florida men
We
will
have
go.
never gotten free booze.
Florida men will go far for a free sandwich.
That's probably true.
And
Confirmed by a former Florida
kind
man.
of
Just said it.
kind of related to Matt's cricketing rugby career. I got a call once because I bought a Broncos player's domain. He just let it expire. So I just jumped on that. I was like, this will probably be fun for a little while, which I didn't have too much fun with it. But one of the residual effects from that was I got a call from the ESPYs. once, and they thought I was this Broncos player's agent, and I'm kind of regretting not going through with the full scam with that one. 'Cause,
Without saying any names, was he somebody I would know, not being a football fan?
he was a pretty high-profile receiver.
Okay, I might know.
So yeah,
Okay.
for the
Okay.
Broncos, and he
Did his
Brandon
name-
Marshall.
Did his last name start with Mac?
he was post Brandon Marshall.
Definitely post McCaffrey.
Sanders.
Should I just say it? It was Drop Marius.
Oh, okay.
It's Demarius Thomas.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty high profile
But
name.
his domain was abebe88.com, which is not a great domain in the first
What the-
place.
That's why he let it
F.
expire. I thought you were going to say you got called by the Securities and Exchange Commission for trying to.
No, it's fair game to jump on expired domains and,
Yeah, but
and
there
profit.
there are laws against squatting on them for what is the I can't remember the term. There are rules or laws, I guess, against basically nabbing up like Ford.com, like now, like whatever the equivalent to a huge company, and just kind of sitting on it waiting to sell. That's kind of become a little bit criminal.
Yes and no.
I know, right?
But if there's like a grace period,
you have to
where-
prove that you
yeah.
have a legitimate use for that name and that you've done something
That
with
you're
it.
gonna
And if
do
you
something with
can't-
it, kind of almost like if you were
Yeah.
like a landowner and you were working on some land, even though it wasn't yours. Over time, you could be like, "Hey, look, I've been maintaining and working
Yeah.
on this property; it's mine," and the court would actually give it to you.
Well, like if
But-
your name is McDonald and you have McDonald's.com in 1992, and then McDonald's is like, "Hey, give us that domain," and you're like, "No, this is my family name and I have a blog." You have a right to that website. If you never do anything with it and your name is not McDonald or anything close to it, then there could be a problem, and that is being ruled. Let's just say it's been ruled against your favor. I don't know about the legal.
So I was
standing.
approached by some guy in England on Twitter who wanted to buy my Sir Brendan Twitter
Twitter
name.
handle.
And I'm like, I don't know who the hell you are.
Did he
And-
claim to be a sir, an actual sir?
He did, but he couldn't give me any like credentials to
Well,
look that shit up.
I can poke a hole in that right now because I just in the last couple of days,
And
it is
dogs in the house.
literally this easy. For Christmas, for my son, I bought him a lordship in Scotland.
What?
Yes,
No
that's-
way, Sir Aiden.
That's gonna be his Christmas, one of his Christmas
I
presents.
thought
He
about
is-
doing that too.
He owns 1 square foot of land in somewhere Scotland, and he is Lord Aiden Bell. And that is how bullshit that title is.
Oh my God, a square foot.
A square,
foot.
He's going to own a square foot of land.
Oh man.
And it's mostly for preservation purposes. You have to agree that you're not. I'm not going to go and build anything on that square foot of land. I don't even know exactly which one it is. But it will be preserved in his name, and he gets to be a sir.
Just have
And
like
with a
a
certificate.
30-foot obelisk
Yes.
on that.
It's
one
good. As
Man.
tall as you can go with a base of 1 square foot.
Right? Exactly, because that's not a whole lot. That's a tile.
So the
12
point
by
is,
12.
funny coincidence, but the point is, claiming to be a sir doesn't mean much anymore. Unless you're Elton John. Then you've earned it.
I forwardly apologize for the heavy breathing dogs that Tam let down.
I'm sorry.
Tam is now 7 beers in, and the dogs have been released.
They won. They won. I went to go potty and they stared at me down. Stared at me down. Stared me down.
Stared you. Yeah. Okay. So, bringing it back around, I've got another name.
Okay, go for it.
Apparently, I'm an eye doctor in Alabama.
Alabama.
Hold up, I have to pass through my own shit real quick.
While you're doing that, I do have an author that's also a professor in Arizona.
Yep, Montgomery, Alabama.
There you go.
I optometry, honestly, if I were to personally go into some sort of doctorish kind of thing, aside from behavioral services, which is what I kind of do now, I would do eyes. They don't freak me out, and I look into eyes a lot when it comes to people. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm just...
You would probably hate me because I've gotten some bad eye infections from wearing contacts.
Would you be the surgery guy, or would you just be the look here and read these letters
I would
guy?
be more the look here and read these letters
Yeah.
guy.
That's done by a nurse practitioner in most places,
Oh,
not really
well,
a doctor.
fuck. There was this chick in Brighton that did my eyes and our old client Rick before he passed away. And, oh, God, there was something about her that just, like, rang home. Like, I swear I knew her from somewhere, some reason or whatever. But all she did was just look into her eyes and write scripts. And as I think about that, and I look at this other Brendan Wyatt in Montgomery, I'm like, hey, dude, you should see this guy's picture.
Is he dreamy? Is he a McDreamy?
No, he's borderline almost kind of
Is he-
Mr. Bean creepy. like,
Aw,
Hi,
Mr.
Mr.
Bean.
Bean.
I'm sorry, Mr.
He should
Wyatt,
be in jail
but-
with Marco Cummings
That's funny.
in Florida.
I think the majority want to make sure your eyes look healthy.
Yeah,
and
that's
that
not
you
a good
can...
photograph.
No.
There's a Matthew Bell that's a professional photographer that could have done a much better job than that.
Yeah, he looks like he could be in the Senate for the GOP.
Right? A little politician-esque.
He's a little bit like Pete Buttigieg's evil brother.
There we go. Thank
Yeah.
you for putting that together. Tam, you want to take a peek at this guy? Before I, like, try to attempt to show it on the video? If I was like John, you know, like I'd be able to figure out how to like put him right up on the screen.
He also kind of has a little bit of that. He could be linked to Epstein, and it
Oh,
wouldn't surprise you at
no.
all. You're like, yep, that guy did it.
No,
It was
the
him.
guy. There's a guy, the eye doctor. Oh no, Tam must have hit a button.
8 beers in.
Yep. They're all creepy.
She's like, put them all in jail.
Yeah. I'm not Earl Wyatt. I'm Brendan.
Earl Brendan Wyatt.
Yeah, well, Earl was first. That would be like if I
They're
did-
all
if you live in-
creepy, so it doesn't matter.
If you live in Alabama, you're required to have Earl in your name somewhere.
Although
I
you're
was
right,
also going
that
to
guy
say it's
does
like a
seem-
very southern thing to have like a girl's name as your real first name and then go by something else.
Like Evelyn.
Actually, even the dancer guy looks like he's kind of let himself go.
Aw, he's earned it.
Am I the better looking Brendan Wyatt out of all these?
Tammy says no.
Tammy's
I
like,
believe-
you belong in jail with the rest of the Brandon Wyatts.
I believe Tammy's exact quote was, "They're all creepy."
They're all creepy.
Like all
We
of
can
them.
rewind the
Look at
tape.
that. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The
Holy
gen-
shit!
There's something wrong with Brendan Wyatt.
How about this young kid out of freaking Texas? This running back guy, is he better looking?
Well, he's a kid, so he's already up
Right,
on
he's
you.
got to be something. Anyway, all right. Who else has got something?
I mean, if you're
Oh,
going to talk
yeah.
about how good-looking people are, the most famous Matthew Bell, the one you'll Google and get the first 6 or 7 results, is Matthew Bell, male model.
Is that the one you were waiting for, though?
It segues nicely.
Okay.
Matthew Bell is a male model. He's an English fashion model who rose to fame after winning Elite Models 2011 Model Looks UK.
Oh, he was one of those. He was a Tyra Banks kind of guy.
Is that what that
Tyra
is? Is
Banks.
he?
Well,
Is he
Tyra
Britain's-
Banks did the America's
Britain's
Next, Top model, so yeah, like Britain's
Yeah.
Next Top, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a pretty boy. If you can pull him up on
Yeah.
yours, my battery's about dead, and I'm in airplane mode just to get through this.
Okay.
But he was discovered in Liverpool.
And do I Matthew?
Matthew Bell. You'll find him. He's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and
Okay.
6. He was discovered in Liverpool while working at Top Man during a time before university when he was focusing on his saxophone playing. So the motherfucker also plays the saxophone.
Oh,
How can I compete with this?
Oh, hold up. Let me show the camera.
He's very pretty. He's more pretty in my opinion than that vampire guy who's also from England.
He
With-
almost
there's
has
a lot
that
of vampire guys
Yes,
Except,
in England.
I don't
and
know
I'm
if-
obsessed with all those shows.
he has kind of that
So,
Yeah.
vampire vibe.
I don't know if this guy.
I'll be the judge because I'm watching all
Yeah,
of that
and
shit.
I don't know if he can do the Robert Pattinson American accent.
No, I'm not talking that. But I've been
But that
obsessed
guy-
with like a lot of Netflix vampire shit lately.
Well, Matthew Bell is from Liverpool, which means he's got this god awful Beatles accent.
Ooh, he's
Can
nice.
you imagine being attracted to someone who talks like this? It's like this is why Ringo
Actually,
is.
the weird thing
This
is,
is why Ringo's gonna die alone. Everyone.
Oh,
Wah, wah.
I like his images better than what I'm watching because a lot of the vampire
He's
shit are
beautiful.
these
I know.
blonde, like
When you talk about being the best looking of your name, Not even close. This
I
guy,
like dark hair. So
literally
this
a
is
male
nice.
model. I didn't find any products that I recognize that he's done campaigns for, but he has plenty of industry pages. And since Marco compared body type, this motherfucker has a 29-inch waist.
Oh,
He's a
Wow.
slender.
That was you when we married.
He is a slender guy.
That was years ago, by the way.
My official story is that I have a 34 waist, but he is 6'1", like me. So yeah, I'm a pretty boy.
He's not my typical in my Netflix
No.
vampire shit, but
You don't.
he's
well,
nice.
yeah. If you don't go for the pretty boys, he's not your speed. But if you do, he's tall, he's skinny, he's pretty.
There are always
he's got
some.
it all. He was born in '83, so he's pushing the limits of his shelf life. So he better get famous real fast.
I'm one of
There
the
is-
weird ones that like the scars and the aging and the gray hair
Yeah.
spurting out.
He may make a dashing older man, but there was a website I read that he said he can play as young as 19 or 18, but no
Bullshit.
younger
Oh,
than that.
that's too young.
Yeah.
Not-
Well, that's
With
played.
a 29-inch waist, though.
Well, that means he's trying to
I
get into
mean-
acting, which I don't think he's successfully done. I haven't found him on
but
any
one of
acting
my favorite
sites.
actors
Tammy's
is
more
Benicio del
successful.
Toro, and he is not a 29-inch waist.
well, Benicio has been all over the
Yeah.
yeah.
He's probably more like a 36, 38 at this
Right,
time.
right. But as far as namesakes go,
But
you've been the
Benicio
more.
has
I
the
love
daddy
him.
look that everyone likes. It's
Even
different.
Brad Pitt is not a 29-inch waist.
Oh,
and
no.
actually,
Brad Pitt's got some muscle mass, though.
right.
This kid
I was
is
just going to
stick
say,
thin.
that's scrawny. That's not like...
He is. He's Calvin Klein scrawny.
That's
Yeah.
skinny. You want, well, granted, I'm a hefty girl, so you don't want like a 29-inch waist guy to feel petite and pretty. You want someone to feel a little bit.
You want somebody who can sweep you off your feet.
Exactly. Like, that's too skinny anyway.
Yeah, and again, a lot of women don't go for the pretty boys. I understand that, but a lot of women do, and he's probably gonna find his way into the films somewhere. The pictures.
Something tells me he may not like women.
Well,
Oh.
that could
Who
be.
cares, though?
I checked his Instagram, and he has been traveling. I don't know when. I'm not gonna say he's violating COVID travel rules or anything. I didn't check any dates on anything, but a lot of traveling through very exotic locales with a man. And maybe they're together, maybe they're friends. I didn't even think to check.
I don't think it
But
really matters at this point.
It doesn't matter if he's
I
going to
don't
be in the
either.
pictures
I think
because
bisexuality is
whether or not
most
Robert
people
Pattinson
anyway.
liked women, women liked him. So
Right.
it didn't matter
in,
that way.
In most cases, if you like a guy,
Celebrity-
more women are gonna like you anyway.
Well, celebrity's one-way traffic. Like Marco said last time, he's into Sarah McLachlan, and I said, "Good luck with that." she's not so much into Marco.
I don't remember that.
She's bi.
so maybe
yeah,
I had
you
too many beers.
you mentioned it at one of these podcasts.
I
But
do remember
she's at least
that.
bisexual. I don't know.
and I
she played the
loved
Lilith
it
Fair.
because that's what I think people are. I think you can't put a sexuality to people. I think you're attracted to who you're attracted to.
Hold up,
Jojo,
You're gonna have to
we're
kick the
trying to
dogs out.
talk to. I might have to kick him out. But you're attracted to who you are or who you're attracted to.
I've
whether
said
be
it last
man or
time, and I
woman.
wasn't joking. Sexuality is a spectrum. Mm-hmm. It absolutely is.
Yeah, no, I get it fully, 100%.
Jojo disagrees.
And
Yeah.
the vampire shows
As he
just
cuddles
make you
with
more
another male
attracted
dog.
to the bisexual males because that's what they typically are. And maybe that's the women in me because I'm like, oh, that's hot.
Anything else on your end, Marco, aside from the one dude that? Like,
I have one
totally
other guy
like
who's
Florida man?
also a sports personality
Oh,
with no photo.
oh,
So
good
that's
for
a
you.
common
like my
theme.
actress.
Yeah. He's Marco Cummings is a hockey player born in 1980. I think he's retired now,
That sounds
Yeah,
about right
probably
because
an
he's like
80.
40 years
Yeah.
old now. Yeah.
but he was on the Mexican national team. I didn't even know there
What?
was a Mexican
There's
national
a
team
Mexican national hockey
for
team?
hockey. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
very
Right.
random.
That's awesome. They got a hockey team.
Well, I
That
don't
would
watch.
be
I
like the
love hockey,
Jamaican
and I'm
hockey
trying to think
team.
of what teams
I don't watch
from
the Winter
Mexico?
Olympics or the summer ones, but do they?
Well,
do they
Olympics
show up?
there is.
Well,
Okay.
the whole problem is like there's qualifying. So if Mexico has to qualify with Canada and the U.S., they're fucked
You're right.
completely.
Unless all three get in because there's only 3 countries in that category.
Unless, yeah, we're hosting the Winter Olympics or
Sorry, is the Bahamas going to take it?
no. And
Cuba?
That's a tough
But
sport for Mexico.
Cuba?
Jamaica has still like Cool Runnings was not a fucking joke, man. Like that
It
was
was awesome,
real.
though.
Yeah, but you know what? Fucking Florida is like Cool Runnings. Like it's a hot state.
Oh,
Well,
laugh at me being
country
a
we're
Tampa
going
fan. Come on,
versus
no,
state.
for real. Like as a hockey team, Tampa is always
Right,
been.
right. But I mean, like you have Tampa
Not
Bay.
always.
Yeah, we've invented the
You have
indoors
the
now where
Panthers.
we
Like
can
you
keep
have
ice
hot
alive.
states that are good in hockey.
Jamaica
in the United
is-
States, but you
the
don't have
Jamaica-
Vegas
countries
Knights won
typically.
it 2 years ago.
Not to be controversial, but
Vegas.
Jamaica is fully capable of keeping ice cold.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no reason a hot country couldn't play
As long as you
hockey.
have power.
Yeah, if you've got electricity, you can make ice. And
Hell, we do ice on our fucking slopes when it's slow time snowing.
yeah, I'm not going to say just because a country is impoverished that it can't keep a hockey rink
Plus,
going.
there's always
hockey-
money for sports. They can train
A hockey rink's
somewhere
probably
else.
easier than slopes, but even
That's
in
true.
upstate
I mean-
New York, we have to ice our. I mean, depending on the season, you gotta make sure we got snow.
These fucking dogs, man.
Do you want me to kick them out? I'm sorry, it's my fault. I thought they'd be good, but apparently they're not.
They're being good and loud.
They just want to be a part of the podcast.
A 9 months. I know a 9-month-old.
Ay,
Just
ay,
for
ay.
fun, wad up JoJo and put him under your shirt. I want to see what that would look like.
Good luck.
9 months. Man, that is a big Great Dane. 9 months.
That's true. If only we knew how much he weighed. We digress just a bit. Tam?
We shouldn't do these at your house anymore.
Oh, me?
No!
Too many distractions.
It doesn't help that we came back from vacation and them two are just like, Mama, Papa, you're back. We don't want to be left without you anymore. I could totally cut this bit out.
I
Except for the
did put
video
my
part.
name in as Tamatha, which is my given name.
Yeah.
And I found, which is so weird because I actually found a Tamatha Wyatt, which has to be weird. Because how
Are
many
you sure it wasn't
Tamathas?
yourself?
It was. Well, I did find myself. And it pissed me off, to be honest with you.
Because why?
Because it gave too much information.
Oh, you
up.
should get off Facebook. A little edit, but I want to make sure you got in my slide to Facebook. You got to get off Facebook. That shit's poison.
It is poison. And I'm not on it every day.
Well, they have your information.
But
And that's the problem.
I agree with you because when you said the name thing, I actually got pissed off because I put my name in and if I went by my given name, it even gave like your siblings and like who are close to you, and it was accurate, and I didn't like that, and I tried to make it where I was like private, more privacy. And like tried to make all these people, but like you can totally see that shit, which really
Facebook is horrible.
Oh, totally! Like it was
Everybody
like,
should get
it
off of
gave
Facebook.
actually my brothers, my sisters who are in different state, like whatever.
Yeah.
But my given name is Tamatha, not Tamantha, Tamatha.
There's no in.
No N in Tamatha.
Where did your parents come up with that name? I've never met a Tamatha before.
From what my mom said, my mom wanted one name, my dad wanted the other, and I can't remember if one wanted Tamara and one wanted Tabitha, and they kind of compromised. But so I thought it was one of the unique people because anytime I meet everyone, like I've never met another Tamatha, but I came across
It's
another
almost false.
Tamatha, and that is rare. And so I have to say, and her name is Tamatha Tamsey.
That was her
Tamsy?
nickname, Tamsy.
Okay.
Tamsey
Do you like that
Wyatt,
nickname?
which is crazy because I'm like, oh my God, there's a Tamatha Wyatt there. Like, and that's me. But she was born in 1815 and she died
Tamsy
in,
from 1815?
yes.
It's so familiar for that time.
And so from what my parents told me, they created the name together. So I have not asked them about
but
this, but I was like, hey,
This chick was from Saratoga, New York,
which I grew up
Oh,
near.
which is not too far away.
So I'm from Batavia, New York, which is right between Buffalo and Rochester, New York, which is upstate, and Saratoga is very close to that. And so this individual, her name was Tamatha as well. So either I believe my family created it or they heard it from whatever.
Is she like a local legend? Like, was she burned as a witch?
No.
She made it to 67. 67, I think. So it was
Prime witching
1815 to 1883.
Right. They burned
Prime
her at the
witching
stake,
age.
I'm sure.
Everyone knows everyone knows
That's
witches.
unofficial.
Everyone knows that the
But
definition of witch is a woman
If
who's
you
lost her
Google
sex appeal.
Tamitha, you don't get a lot of Tamithas. And I always felt unique. And I'm like, oh, I'm not unique. Or am I? I don't know. Maybe I'm in a witch. I don't
You're
know.
unique. Marco's a eunuch. It's all fun.
Maybe. But that was the first Tamitha I ever come across. But she died.
That is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
My name's not so much interesting. My mom said, I don't know. I think I like the name or something.
Well, Matthew is a very biblical name, too.
Yeah, wasn't that?
Well, it can be.
That's a literal quote from my mom. I don't know. I think I like the name or something. I was an
Matthew's
accident.
one of my favorite names. And I like Jonathan, too.
I was
Those are
an
my two.
accident. I was not supposed to. I'm not supposed to be here right now. My parents fucked and then up. So I don't know who fucked and who fucked up, but I'm not supposed to be here. They did not plan on me, and Matthew was like, I don't know. I guess I just like that name.
You can't say you're not supposed to be here. Whether they do that doesn't mean. Maybe that. Do you believe in higher beings?
No.
Of what? Okay.
Not at all.
No.
No.
Nope.
I was
I am
supposed to
noted
be
atheist.
Christopher.
I am noted atheist Matthew Bell.
Yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I'm adopted, and I had a somewhat of a name before I was adopted, and Christian was the name that my mom gave me. Don't know who she is. Don't know anything about it. But that's all I know is I was originally a Christian. So for a long time in my
Now he's an atheist also.
in my late teens, early 20s, I would even, if I wasn't sure about the date or the girl, I would tell them my name was Christian.
Yeah, that was your stripper name.
That was my,
You
that was
have
my,
too many names.
well, I had a nickname for my family who they
Yeah,
would call me Danny.
Your parents call you Danny, which is
Yeah.
confusing.
It is
Yeah, no
confusing
shit,
because
man.
I
Like,
married the
that's-
guy and like everyone's like, tell Danny, and I'm like, so am I,
knew you
in the
for
Danny? But nope,
Yeah.
I'm in the Brendan.
I knew you for 4 years before your dad told me why he calls you Danny.
Dan.
Because of the end of Brendan.
Yep.
Right.
I'm like, that doesn't follow.
No,
It's not a logical maneuver.
try explaining that to employers for so many. Like it got to a point that when I moved
That
to
makes
Florida,
as much sense as calling him Brenda.
which the IRS did. So when I would like file
Oh,
taxes,
he gets Brenda all the time.
it would be Brenda. They would chop the end right off.
Chopped.
chopped.
Chopped. Yeah. That joke goes way back to like what the first podcast, the second
But
one.
being
maybe,
married
but-
to someone that the most close to people that like, all right, your family calls you Brent or Danny. His ex, he has two
my daughter-
children,
both my kids'
and both
moms call
kids'
me Danny.
mamas call him Danny. And then when I met him, they're like, "No, you call him Brendan." I'm like, "Wait a minute, am I in the outs or am I in the Danny?" Oh wait,
You
so
choose
I'm
what
not
you
in
like.
the Danny, so I'm
As
in the
far as I'm
outs.
concerned, Danny's gone. I'm not that same
So now I'm the
person,
Brendan,
so-
but like when I get texts from both mamas and
I
his
didn't
parents,
Google
it's like, tell
Danny
Danny to
Wyatt for
call
this
me. I'm like,
episode.
what am I?
So
Danny
no, I don't-
Wyatt sounds like an awful Scottish center back.
Pretty close to the one that's semi-awful.
So I had a girlfriend in high school who then went into college, and then she knew like her. I think her roommate had a friend or boyfriend named Matthew, but he went by. I hate to even say it, but he went by Thew.
What?
You?
Yes. Now this is before Topher Grace.
Yeah, I
pulled
didn't
this
know
shit.
there's something worse
Oh,
than
Topher
Topher,
Grace?
but that,
And she
that-
told me-
that's it.
She told me that she kind of thought that was cool, and I thought we can't be together anymore.
That just
And then
ruined it.
she broke up with my ass. No, she did dump me. But I'm still alive, so I win. But no, that was the first time I'd ever heard of anyone, even with the inkling, to take the last half of this name, Matthew, and just be Thew, and it's so hard to say.
Right.
And it's ugly sounding, and like, but
That's different.
Why?
I've not heard that. Like
Topher,
Danny,
Topher I kind of understood, but I didn't approve of. But Thew, no. I get Drew, that's fine. But Thew, no, not at all.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I
one.
wouldn't
Thew,
think that
come
either.
on.
to be
Yeah,
honest.
it's Matt or nothing.
Yeah.
and two
Matthew,
T's. What
Matt,
the fuck?
Maddie. Those would be my 3 for you.
Yeah, I'm fine with all of those, depending on who's saying them.
Right?
And that's what I felt.
Right?
Like
You
they would
kinda
like,
have
tell
to
Danny, tell.
earn-
You got to earn Maddie. I don't just submit to Maddie.
And
that
that's how I
easily.
felt with Danny. Like his whole like close knit friends, family call him Danny, and here I'm married to him. They're like, "No, you're Brendan." I'm
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, but your family calls you Danny,
And we've kind of been a
and
triangle
your
here.
kids'
but
mamas call you Danny.
I gotta
Why
wonder,
am I
Marco,
the
do you have
Brendan?
any nicknames? Do your parents just straight up call you Marco? Do they have a nickname for you? Or
People just call people who I'm friends with and I'm close with just
Mark?
call me Marco. I feel like Mark is more for people who don't know me. Yeah.
Does Marco come from anywhere in particular?
My dad, my white dad, wanted an Italian name. It makes 0 sense.
He already has the
That
last
is
name.
not
What the
an
fuck?
Italian name.
What?
Matteo.
No, Marco is a very Italian name.
Okay.
But the irony is, as a brown person, it ruins like my identity with
would you-
other people because they think I'm another ethnicity that I'm not.
As a Filipino American, what would you name yourself?
I would be fine. My mom wanted to name me Christopher, which was after like a cousin that died, and I feel like that is a more meaningful name than I'm just gonna name you Marco because I want an Italian name. It
Right.
like makes 0 sense. Like
It could have
at
been
least
Mario. It
The
could have been
other,
worse.
at least the
Oh,
other
that's
one
true.
is like I want to name you after a family member that
Did
passed.
they
That's
pass
like
away
more
before they
meaningful to
named
me.
you though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know,
My
I
middle
agree.
name is
Matt's-
Lee, which is a grandfather that passed. That's why I asked.
Okay.
What's your middle name?
Lee.
Lee. L-E-E-H.
But also-
Yeah, no, no,
L-E-E.
just L-E-E.
My grandfather died before I was born.
I do
and
like
so I
that
was
Marco
named
is a
after him.
unique name versus Christopher is always shortened to Chris, and
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
and their mom and dad is named Chris.
Including
True.
Pat's significant
And
other
that was like
on
that
its
was
Pat.
like an ongoing joke in college too, because there were so many Chris's that we would just call everybody named Chris by their full name.
Yeah, which is kind of why Topher makes sense. It's like, that's creative anyway, but you must be sick of being called Chris along with everyone else. I don't know. I was always one of 3 Matts growing up, all through elementary school. There was always 3 of us: Matt Bowden, me, and Matt Smiley.
So there's
Really?
even 2 Matt B's.
Yes, which sucked in kindergarten because for your, they would do this thing where like they would pull up a name 1 letter at a time, and you would win a prize. Whoever was the one they selected, it was random, and it would get all the way to Matt B before I would be eliminated with the O, because there would be just the 2 of us standing. But Matt Smiley would have to sit down after the T.
You guys just
So-
had to fight to the death.
That's right. I mean, but when you first Google Matt Bell, it auto completes Matt Bellamy, which I didn't even click on who that is, but he must be famous. I know Bill Bellamy, but I don't know of any Matthew Bellamy.
No, I knew. Yeah,
but
Bill
that's what
Bellamy.
Google wants me to type, and I'm like, no, just the Bell. So
Just the bell.
one of these days I'll look up Matthew Bellamy and see who the hell that guy is.
I think one of the hardest part about names in general growing up and overall, with Wyatt being the last name, it's a W. So we were always the last to be called on. We're close to the last. And the worst of it, the absolute worst, was Navy boot camp. I'll never forget the shit. So it came down to the gas chamber day. And our entire division was thrown in the gas chamber. And this is, oh fuck, there might have been, I'm throwing out a ballpark figure, 20, 30 of us in our division. And I was the second to last guy when it came down to alphabetical. And what they did is they put us in the gas chamber and they would walk up to you. And we were ranked by alphabetically. And you had to say your name, rank, social security number before you could go. And I'm a W. And I shit you not, I swear to God, I feel like my stomach issues that I have with my gag reflex and things like that, I didn't have that until afterwards. But I was puking for 2 days afterwards and still have the worst gag reflex that I could, like, it didn't happen until then.
Who picks
Yeah.
up dog
But-
and cat puke and poop?
There's a
Me,
lot of
'cause
things that Tam does on the gross end of things that I can't do that I feel like I could have done.
Look, Tam, either you pick up this
He's
dog
like,
poop.
it's my reflex. Go get him.
Either
I'm
you
like,
pick up this
"Alright."
dog poop or you pick up dog puke and human vomit.
But I feel like I
vegetarian's
really
daughter.
do
I'm
feel
like,
like
doesn't
it had a
bother me,
hand in
though.
things. Like it just I can't say it's PTSD, but there has been moments that
It has to be somewhat because, like, he really does
bring
like,
it
he's
back. Like I'm just and it throws my whole body off. And sometimes, depending on how bad it is, I'm down and out for a good half hour.
and sometimes I'm like, it's just dog poop. It's just poop.
But I'm fucked. And
Yeah, the 4-foot pooper scooper really helps me. I don't have to bend
I don't
over.
know,
It's
why doesn't it
it's the
bother me?
scooper
I'm
and the
like, we
rake,
all
and I'm 6
poop.
feet
It's just
1 inch
poop.
away from it at all times.
I'll do it with a shovel.
Yeah,
When not, all right, you lie. You'll do it with a shovel, with a mask and a t-shirt over it, and maybe a gag in between. It's not like, oh, I'll do it. You'll do it.
She
should
threw
just-
a little additives on
you
there.
should just get
Oh,
him-
you
Sometimes I will
totally
be
do.
like, shirt over the nose, kind of.
He makes a scene where I'm like, I'll fucking do it. Just move aside.
You should just get him one of those grabbers and get
But
him
we
a
have
gas
one
mask.
of those grabbers, and we have maskers.
you're running out of excuses there, Brendan. You might have to start doing something around the house pretty soon.
Yeah.
As long as it's not fucking picking up
It's
dogs.
not
I,
poopy.
hey, I wipe shit out of diapers and off of bed sheets.
Out of diapers? Why would you do that? You just
Not
wear
out
the
of
diapers.
well, now that he's in diapers. But before that. Anywho.
Humans okay,
Yeah.
dogs not so much.
I know.
It is I don't know why, but it is a little bit of a difference. A little bit.
Yeah,
Now,
it's probably
granted,
psychological.
When the smell hits though.
Oh, I know.
it somehow goes not just smell, but
Yeah.
Just
taste.
think, it's just a very extreme fart.
In the radio business, this is what's called a teaser. He's going to chop this,
Yeah.
The
turn it
smell
into a
and the
30-second
This is all
commercial.
the
Marco's
part that we
already
shut off.
figuring out how to tease this podcast episode by
Think
me
Marco-
gagging over shit.
I think Marco
This has
volunteered
nothing
to
to
edit
do with
this.
the namesakes or what Matt chose. It's just me gagging over shit.
Are we all done? Are we ready to spin the bottle?
Do
Spin
we
the
have any more
bottle.
names or things that we?
the only
wanna
other
talk
one I'll
about?
mention is Reporter. He's a pretty big deal, and I
That's
follow
kind of
him
your
on
field. Ish.
Twitter. I'm a journalist too, but not at all on his level.
Oh,
Matthew
you're
J. Bell
humble,
on
humble.
Twitter at Matthew J. Bell is an editor reporter with The World, BBC, WGBH,
Ooh, BBC.
PRX. It's public radio, watching religion, China, the Middle East, guitar, and mighty Boston Celtics retweets.
You almost sounded like Mighty Mighty Boston.
The only reason I
Eh.
mention him is because I follow him because when I became a journalist, he was what I set out to become.
I think
and
you're
I
humble.
fit-
You should appreciate how
I did
well
not
you are.
become him. So he is a quality, worldly journalist that I admire greatly. So that's the last one I had to mention. Just as a shout out, follow him on Twitter. He's a real journalist.
All right, good. I mean, that's a nice way to end it. I don't really. I mean, unless you're an eye or need somebody needs an eye doctor in Alabama,
Hey,
um,
I'm a Pinterest.
or want some ballet stuff or Broadway stuff. The
My
Brendan
name
Wyatt
goes
can't
back
help you,
to
but-
like a mean handbag.
and Tam can make a mean, yeah,
Which
her,
is not
her namesake ish could make a mean
as good as
handbag.
a journalist.
There's
like
there's
that.
a handful of Tammy Wyatts in Texas. There's like 3.
Yeah.
That sounds
We
like
like
a
to
very
make
Texan name.
handbags. We're
Right, and that's what
Pinterest
she was saying earlier. She was afraid of
think
being
that
a country
quali-
singer.
Because I was
but-
just saying that. I'm like, why am I all like in Arizona and like handbag shit? Like,
3
what the
Tammy
fuck?
Wyatts qualifies as a gang.
I'm a
afraid.
gang in Arizona, man. Don't mess
Texas.
with me. I'll
That
help
is
you
a
with my
very
bag.
when you say Tammy Wyatt is a very Tea Party name.
But the
yeah.
the Tammy Wyatt gang sounds like a very country music oriented.
Screw the Dixie Chicks. We got
I'll get
the
with
Tammy
Dolly
Wyatt
and we'll
gang.
fuck you all up, man.
We're Bonnie without Clyde.
Oh,
Oh.
she liked that one. Okay, let's spin this thingy
Spin in
and
the
move
bottle.
Spin
forward.
the bottle.
I'll just say if it lands on me, it goes to Marco.
You got bottles in the
clear.
way.
I didn't clear a whole lot of space for this. I thought I could.
Do we need
enough.
the floor?
There we go.
It's Tammy.
Tammy.
Ooh. All right, Matt. This is because of you. Because I had a few things in my, what I would say, but you bringing up the name, because I hate My name is Tamitha, not
Tamantha.
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 A lot of people put an N in Tamantha. Drives me crazy. There's no N in it. It's Tamitha. So it brought me to, what do we hate how people pronounce things? Like wash
Oh my
versus
God.
worsh.
Worsh.
Westminster drives me fucking crazy. It's Westminster. There's no minister. Westminster. So, what drives you crazy? Tomato, potato, potato.
Let's call the whole thing off. This whole
Exactly.
podcast.
You know what drives me the most? Like crayons, crowns. There's no crowns. It's crayons.
I haven't
so
heard that.
for me, oh yeah.
Are we
oh,
all?
Yeah.
You're from New York. I'm from here. Marco?
I feel like crayons bothers me.
Crayons?
It's crayons.
Where,
It's
where,
crayons, whatever.
What regions
versus
of-
crowns?
Cranes.
There's no such thing as crowns
Yeah.
unless it's a crown.
Over
has
your
anybody
head.
lived in the deep south?
Exactly.
I did for a while, yes.
So,
Okay.
what
So we
drives
got
you
some
more
diversity
crazy?
here.
How people pronounce, whether it be Barrett, crayon.
Can you really blame people for regional dialects,
Whatever.
though?
Well, that's what she's
Whatever.
getting. That's the whole topic of the
Exactly.
next
Like I'm just
podcast.
taking what my experience is. I hate like worsh or wash. There's no R in wash. It's not worsh. It's wash.
Newsflash: Tammy hates my mom.
Oh
Tune
no!
in, tune in next week to find
I mean,
out
I
why.
love worsh. I hate wash. And I get it from Tamitha versus Tamantha. I'm like, there's no N in it. There's Tamantha. That my name is Tamitha, not Tamantha. But there's so many things out there. Worsh, wash,
So, bad
Westminster,
All right,
whatever you hate people how they pronounce things.
mispronunciations.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you
next
think is
time.
the correct way to say things?
Mispronunciations,
Yes.
correct
There's
pronunciations.
Westminster, not Westminster.
Well, don't get
It's
it all out now.
Westminster.
We
Okay.
got to be able to fill in next
That
episode.
one drives me crazy because of Colorado.
Okay. All right. Well, raise our glasses, whether they be full or empty.
Cheers.
Beers, beverages. Cheers, guys. And until the next episode, we are 4 beers in.
Cheers.
Yes.